Absence is usually a problem in celebrity culture. If you are not there, you risk being forgotten. That is why this story lands. It flips the expected equation. The headline isn't simply that he missed a major night. It's that his absence became a kind of presence so loud it forced everyone to notice. The psychological tension is immediate. Viewers instinctively ask, what kind of star can step away from a huge platform moment and still dominate the conversation? The mind searches for a reason. Work commitments, strategy, principle, exhaustion. Any answer becomes a storyline, and storylines create engagement. But beyond speculation, something more emotional is happening. Fans experience absence as unfinished dialogue. A stage without the person they came for feels like an empty chair at a family table. Their reaction isn't only disappointment. It's longing, loyalty, and a need to be seen by the one they support. That is why gatherings still happen, why colors still fill crowds, why people still show up with the same intensity. In a way, the absence becomes a test, and the fandom's response becomes the proof. Even without the appearance, the bond holds. Stop scrolling, because this is the kind of headline that doesn't happen by accident. A number so big it made people double-check their screens. 108 million. And then the twist. The same name dominating the conversation wasn't even on stage at the major music night. So how does someone go missing from a spotlight event, yet somehow become the center of the entire internet? Stay with me, because the answer isn't just about popularity. It's about timing, trust, and a strategy most celebrities never dare to use. It wasn't just a big number. It was a moment that felt like the internet briefly paused to take a breath. After a major recalibration of the platform's measurement system in early December 2025, the industry narrative shifted. Reaching extreme daily highs was no longer difficult. It was described as borderline unreachable. That context is what turns 108 million into something more than a statistic. It becomes a symbol, because in entertainment, numbers are never just numbers. They are shorthand for attention, conversation, and collective focus. A spike like this suggests that people weren't only searching out of habit, but out of genuine curiosity. Something about Wang Yiba's name pulled audiences in repeatedly, across age groups and circles that don't always overlap. And that is the real point. The figure was presented as proof of breadth, not simply intensity. Plenty of artists can trend loudly for a few hours. Far fewer can dominate a full-day index in a climate designed to suppress inflated peaks. Whether you see it as cultural heat, public fascination, or a perfect storm of timing and interest, the story sells one clear message. This wasn't a fleeting flare. It was positioned as a landmark. People didn't stay because they were told to. They stayed because the story offered them something modern audiences crave. Contrast that feels human. The public has grown highly sensitive to anything that looks overly packaged. Perfect lighting, perfect answers, perfect smiles. That kind of perfection used to impress. Now it often creates distance. What pulled viewers in here was the sense that they were witnessing someone who can carry two truths at once: discipline and vulnerability. The narrative leans into a version of Wang Yiba that isn't built purely on glamour. It highlights fatigue, everyday moments, small remarks that land because they feel unguarded. And once an audience believes they are seeing the real person behind the public image, their attention becomes more loyal. Curiosity becomes investment. There is also a deeper psychological loop at work. When someone appears to be pushing limits, audiences project meaning onto it. They don't only watch the action, they watch for what it represents. Endurance, self-respect, quiet ambition. That makes the viewing experience personal. Even casual viewers begin to feel like they are watching a journey rather than a performance. And journeys are harder to abandon halfway through. There is a kind of fame that needs constant noise to survive, and a kind of fame that grows stronger in silence. The transcript's deeper implication is that Wang Yiba is being framed as the second type. Not because he avoids the spotlight, but because he doesn't rely on it. In a world where visibility is treated like oxygen, choosing not to appear can be a statement. My value does not depend on this stage tonight. That stance is rare, and rarity carries weight. It suggests self-possession. It suggests that the person has something steadier than applause. Purpose. Quiet power is not about disappearing. It is about allowing the work, the image, and the public conversation to breathe without constant pushing. It's the difference between demanding attention and attracting it. When someone consistently attracts attention, absence becomes intriguing rather than damaging. People don't move on, they lean in. And that is why the story works as narrative rather than mere news. It presents a model of influence built not on chasing every event, but on shaping a wider ecosystem. Projects that spark discussion, a persona that feels authentic, and a career identity that appears deliberate. The result is a reputation that doesn't crack when one appearance is missed. It holds, and sometimes it grows. At the center of this story is not an index. It's attachment. Fans don't gather because of mathematics. They gather because supporting someone over time becomes part of how they understand themselves. It is a relationship built through repetition. The dramas watched late at night, the interviews replayed, the quiet pride of seeing someone they believed in rise step by step. So when he is absent, the feeling isn't simply he didn't come. The feeling is, we came anyway. That choice carries emotion, carries devotion, but also dignity. It says, our support is not conditional on receiving a perfect moment in return. This is also why symbolic gestures matter so much. A standee on a central stage, a mention, a placement that suggests recognition even in absence. For fans, these details become reassurance. You are not invisible. Your effort is not meaningless. The person you support still matters in the room, even when he isn't physically in it. And for the wider audience, the emotional effect is different but still real. Even non-fans can sense something powerful when they see people travel, wait, and gather for a person they might never meet. It makes the celebrity feel less like a product and more like a shared story. That shared story is what keeps a fandom alive long after the music stops. Numbers can be cold, and celebrity coverage can become exhausting when it's just rankings and comparisons. The smartest way to refresh this kind of topic is to turn it into a conversation about meaning, not just magnitude. That's where a behind-the-numbers mini-challenge becomes powerful. Instead of asking viewers to argue about who is bigger, invite them to reflect on why certain people hold attention longer than others. Ask them to choose one value they believe makes influence last. Discipline, kindness, authenticity, courage, or resilience. Then ask them to explain their choice in one sentence. This transforms passive viewers into participants, and participation is what creates loyalty. You can also frame it as a personal mirror. What part of this story felt most human to you? The extreme challenge, the quiet fatigue, the absence, or the fans showing up anyway? When viewers answer, they are revealing what they truly seek from public figures. That data is more valuable than any index, because it tells you what your community cares about. Most importantly, this mini-challenge shifts the emotional tone. It becomes less about competition and more about inspiration. Viewers leave feeling seen rather than provoked. And that is how you build a channel that people don't only watch for updates, but return to for perspective.